Have you ever been burned before by a past hire and you never want it to happen again? Or are you worried that if you hire a VA in another country, they're just gonna take your sensitive confidential information and run with it? Don't worry, in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can find a VA that you can trust. Let's dive in. I'm Joey Vitale. Welcome back to the channel where I help you escape the grind, hire all-star VAs, and cut your work week in half. Now let's talk about VAs. And specifically, how can you bring on a VA that you can actually trust? And I want to start off by giving you one of my biggest tips, which is this: to start small. Now look, I know that it's tempting when you think about bringing on a VA to bring on someone more skilled that you can just delegate the work to, and it would be nice to have more time freedom right away, but that's not the smartest way to go when it comes to VAs. The most sustainable path to more and more freedom for yourself is to start off with a foundation of entry-level virtual assistants. We're talking $6 to $8 an hour, where you're paying them for very administrative tasks. The goal here is not to try and win the lottery with some amazingly talented VA that you're paying for that little. Instead, it's about finding what I call your generalist, your Swiss Army knife. This is someone who you can fairly bring on at an entry level, again, $6 to $8 an hour in the Philippines or in Central America. And the goal here is to give them more simple projects, the things that you most feel like when you're doing it, it's a total waste of your time. You're looking for, again, those Swiss Army knife candidates that might not have a strong background in any particular thing, but they can learn quickly and they have a really good attention to detail. So a quick story here. When I hired my very first VA, I wasn't really sure what to do, who I was looking for. I somehow found this awesome guy who I could tell had an amazing eye for detail, but he was pretty new to the VA world himself. So what we did was this: we got started at literally 5 hours a month. And he started out by just creating new client folders every time we got a new client. He would hop into Google Drive, set up those folders the way that I was doing, and then over time, we started figuring out, okay, how can we automate this more so that you don't have to do it? And how can we shift your attention to some other stuff that's still on my plate, but you can probably do well with a really strong SOP? So that's strategy number one, to start small. And it relates a lot to the second strategy, which is this: training and onboarding. Again, I know it would be amazing if you could just find a good VA, start giving them work, and everything would be rainbows and butterflies, but that's not how successful businesses are run with VAs. I am a huge fan, when you first bring on a new VA, of having them go through a 30 to 90 day onboarding and training experience. During this time, the goal is to get them from competency to proficiency to mastery in whatever that main project is or that area of business is that they're going to be helping you with. And a pro tip on this one as well: if you're going to create this onboarding and training timeline for your VA, make it a quick win. Set them up for success. There might be a list of things that you'd love to get off of your plate, this list that lives in your head. But instead of trying to give them the stuff that is maybe the stuff that you hate doing, or for whatever reason you really want to get off of your plate, think about what would be the easiest to delegate to someone and get off of my plate. Make their first project something that's relatively easy to get trained up on. Yes, the end goal is delegation and for you to free up more and more of your time, but you'll get there faster if you give them easier projects to start and you build that confidence over time. All right, the next thing to think about is this: to what extent should you trust your new hire? And this goes back to the age-old question: should trust be given or earned? Well, I believe that it should be a healthy amount of both. But I am all for giving trust in the beginning, instead of leading with this sense of, I don't trust you in the beginning, you're gonna have to earn my trust over time. That's not a great culture environment that you wanna create and foster among your team and with your VAs. Now, I don't know about you, but before I started my own business, man, I still have memories of being on teams where I could tell that for whatever reason, they didn't trust me. And because I felt that way, it was really hard for me to perform well. I felt like because they were micromanaging and because they were just waiting for me to make some type of a mistake, I would freeze up when I was doing assignments. I would double, triple question myself. It got super overwhelming and really slowed down my ability to perform well on the tasks that I was given. Now, whether you can relate to an experience like that or not, it's worth thinking about the fact that these VAs will perform so much better if they believe that you trust them. Now again, you do want to start small, give them work that they can handle, but make sure that as you're working together, you're keeping a tone of, hey, we brought you on, we're moving forward with you and not the other candidates because we trust that you can do a good job. And as they prove that that trust was well deserved, by all means, give them higher projects, give them more confidential types of information to have access to. I'm not saying blindly trust your VAs, but I am saying lead with trust. And in case you're wondering, Joey, this all sounds great, but how do I find a VA? I got you. Click the link below for our free A to Z hiring guide for virtual assistants. This guide walks you step by step through my hiring process. And with it, you'll have everything you need to start delegating your way to freedom. Now, if we want VAs that we can trust, we have to be really mindful about the types of projects that we give them. And specifically, one of the biggest mistakes that I see business owners making is that they keep just throwing one-off projects at their VAs. As a result, those VAs aren't learning those lessons and then getting better at that specific task. It's a huge missed opportunity if you want to start snowballing your VA's capabilities on certain projects so they can get better and better and better at it. So what I like to do to improve my VA's trustability, if that's a word, is this. We minimize the number of one-off projects that we give to our VAs, and we focus on recurring tasks and projects. And there are tons of recurring project types in any business, whether that's managing your inbox, working on videos that you've recorded to put onto social media, managing your social media calendar itself, working on paid ads. There's ongoing customer support, bookkeeping, the list goes on. Again, find those administrative tasks worthy of paying someone $6 to $8 an hour to get off your plate or maybe one of your key teammates' plate. And assign that to your VA as something that they have to do every weekday, every week, or every month. The more your VA gets trained up to handle recurring activities, the more and more freedom you're going to get because of the work that they're doing. Now, before we end this video, I do want to address one question that I'm sure a lot of you are still thinking is, where can I find a VA that I can trust? To that, I want to say it's not about finding some magical job board that just attracts the best VAs. The truth is that there are a lot of great VAs out there that are across all the different jobs boards. It's less about where you should look, and it's much more about how are you qualifying those candidates. And it really boils down to, do they have a strong attention to detail? And do they have core values that align with those of your business? And you can identify both of those things by building in a quick challenge for them to do before they get to an interview, and then interviewing to make sure that they're a good value fit. In other words, the goal isn't to put out a job posting that is written in a really unique way so that only trustworthy candidates apply. Really, it's about putting out a broader job posting, getting tons of applicants, and then effectively qualifying who is the top 1% of this big pool based on what we're seeing from their attention to detail in some type of a challenge and these interviews. And I'll say this again because it bears repeating, yes, there is a time in your business for hiring more skilled VAs to help you with something more specific like paid ads or marketing or video editing or whatever it is. But to start, focus on finding that generalist, that Swiss Army knife who can help at an admin level across the business. And it's not about getting your post right to attract that candidate. It's about qualifying the candidates to find those people that are applying. I'll go deeper on this topic and share more tools that will help you escape the grind, hire all-star VAs, and cut your work week in half. Now, if you want to continue learning about VAs, click the video that's on the screen now.